I'm Dr. Rauni-Leena Luukanen-Kilde from Finland, but I live in Norway. Actually, I've lived in 10 countries or worked in 10 countries. I'm a medical doctor, and I was even shortly acting Surgeon General of Finland. But I worked with tropical medicine and general practice and health administration. I have 3 specialities. Now I'm retired, of course. I'm 75 already. And I'm also an international bestseller author with 6 languages. But my first book in English is coming out hopefully before Christmas, Bright Light on Black Shadows. And Finland's best clairvoyant, I asked, is it going to be okay? Because a German publisher refused it. It was too heavy. It was too dangerous. So she said, I see a book that's growing. It has golden covers and silver sides. That sounds very good. I said, great. And that includes 22 articles, among others, of course, radiation, TIs, and mind control, and the methods of secret services, how they harass civilian population, which the population knows nothing about, because they've been doing it for decades, and people just die off. They use, as we know, they use food as a weapon. Monsanto, gene-modified foods, which are forbidden in Russia. I think that's one good thing about Russia. They forbid that. And then they use weather as a weapon. They have hurricanes and Fukushima, the biggest catastrophe in the history of mankind. And it's suppressed, nothing. And it has a tremendous effect. Infant mortality went up in California in 11 weeks immediately. Even in Vancouver, even in Pennsylvania, it spreads with the winds. And nothing is told to the public, because all the big news today, and this is important, put it upside down. Put it upside down when they say, like they say, war is peace and peacekeeping is war. Everything put upside down, so then you know the truth. And people are being deceived by the mass media, by the newspapers, radio, whatever, especially about our cosmic contacts. Or do you think that actually we are flying, when I say we, I mean human beings on planet Earth. We are flying constantly to the moon, to Mars, to Saturn. That's for sure, because I've talked to people even who have been. I've talked to a man who's been to the moon, for instance. And we're never told this. White House says we have no evidence of any contacts in cosmos, and we have no evidence of extraterrestrial life on planet Earth. And what happens in Russia? We had an interview in paranormaliblogi.net. It's the biggest alternative net web in Finland. Over 300,000, no, not 300, 30,000 or something hits every month. It was 300, I think. Anyway, it's the biggest one. And there is the Prime Minister of Russia, Medvedev's interview in Russian with Finnish subtitles. And he says when the president becomes a president in Russia, like Putin now, he gets 2 attaché cases. One is the code for atom bombs, and the other one is knowledge about extraterrestrial life in the universe and here. And White House says nothing. So for once, Russia gives good information. RT was supposed to come here. We tried. And Daniel Estulin is an RT Russian TV journalist. He resigned because they said no to this conference. That's something. So you get information mostly in conferences. You meet people. I've met in Moscow, I met cosmonauts. General Popovich opened it. Dr. Asharsa was the chairman, and I didn't know at that time that he was chief of Navy intelligence in Russia. That was in the beginning of the 90s. So people like that, you meet at the conference, you talk, and you find out. So I would say to anybody, go to international conferences or national conferences. You get information which you do not normally read in the newspapers. So that would be advice, absolutely, if you want to know what's going on in the world. I don't know if this is in Polish TV or is it in Secret Service TV or whatever. But anyway, again, whoever sees it gets a little bit of information which they probably didn't have before. And I arranged a big conference in 1996 in Finland, financed it myself because I got so pissed off with everybody. I said, fine, I don't have a car, so I'll put the money into a conference, UFO conference, and I got the best names, like Professor John Mack, yes, who is deceased, and I suspect that he was run over deliberately after a conference, mind you, and others. Leo Sprinkle, professor at the University of Wyoming, who has arranged UFO conferences for decades, etc. And because the social and health minister of Finland at that time was a friend of mine, because she was a young doctor when I was a senior doctor, so she was working for me. And I said, now you are the minister and I am a doctor, but come and open it. And she said, fine, let me, give me the details. So I wrote a long sort of opening address. And the conference was starting on Saturday at 9, and Friday night the male secretary called me and she's cancelled. What? So I opened the conference, but because she cancelled and the word had gotten out that the minister is opening a UFO conference, I mean, that's worldwide news. So the conference got so much publicity that every single newspaper and TV and radio station was talking about it. And probably it was the prime minister who, a Bilderberger, who said no. But it's good he said no, because then the publicity got, through the whole Finland. So that way you get information about cosmic contacts. Think that we fly to the moon all the time. They have mining activities there. I got some pictures years ago about the moon. Beautiful, landscape, green, lakes, whatever, in a normal UFO conference. You can buy them there. Well, of course, when I came to Finland and started, distributing these pictures, Secret Service or somebody just took them. They vanished. They use dematerialization. The technology that is available today is fantasy. There was a CIA agent who was dying, and he said to his son that this you cannot talk until I and mother are dead. So now they're both deceased, so he went to YouTube and stated that father said that CIA has a technology which is from 100 to 300 years more advanced than academic research. 300 years more advanced? We can't even imagine. I mean, come on, 100, 150 years ago, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have cars, we didn't have airplanes, we didn't have anything. 300 years more advanced. Of course we can't understand it. So dematerializations and materializations, which they harass people with, you have something in your hand, and, hey, where did it go? I was lecturing in Newcastle many, many years ago, and I took my watch so that I could keep the time. And I put it there, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the lecture, well, I just looked, did it drop? No, it was just gone for good. So at the airport, I bought a cheap watch just to follow the time. I went home to Oslo. I live in Oslo. At that time I lived, now I'm outside of Oslo. And I just thought this was very strange. 3 days passed, and number 3 is a code for Secret Service criminality, one of the codes. 3 days passed, and I was cleaning up the room. My husband was smoking 40 cigarettes a day, and while I was in Finland, I was leading the anti-smoking campaign. So I said, would you please stop at least for the campaign? And all of a sudden, hey, what happened? The clock, which disappeared in Newcastle while I was talking, was materialized into the ashtray. Materialized. And I thought, gee, maybe it came through dimensions, so maybe it's hot, so I I'll try that I don't burn my fingers. No, it was ice cold, but it was still having British time. And it was next to our wedding picture. And I had no idea that in a couple of months we were separated. So, they know your future, and they sort of give codes what's going to happen. And of course this is incredible. But it's just materialization, dematerialization, today's technology, which is fantasy. But when people don't know it, And then psychiatrists, that lot. I mean, they come and say, oh yeah, you're being followed. Right, you're being followed. Okay, you're paranoid, Come on, everything that secret services do to civilians is put into the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders as sign of schizophrenia or paranoia or whatever. Even, can you imagine, if you oppose the government, read Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders number 5, it came a year ago. If you oppose the government, you're mentally, disturbed. Come on, if you're a boy and you play with dolls when you're a baby, sexually disturbed. Or vice versa, if you're a girl and play with boys' toys. I mean, anything which is normal is put into, abnormality so that they can control everybody. They took a diplomat in Norway. She wrote a book about all kinds of atrocities, which was true. One day the police just comes and puts her into handcuffs and takes her to the asylum, and there they gave her injections and she never became normal again. So this is what we're up to. So what can we do? Use your mind, mind. We're energy bodies. Our energy body is full. Every cell vibrates. Every single cell, even if it looks solid, but it's not solid. 70% of our body is water, 87% our brain is water. So what holds it together? Energy. And Einstein even said energy never disappears, it just changes form. So we can get out of our physical body with the energy body. And Americans use it for espionage and space travel. It's easier to send you to another planet with your astral body, energy body, than take a rocket, which may explode like they do. And what is very, very important to find out about the energy body, it is a copy of your physical body without handicaps. So if you have an amputated arm, you still feel that the fingers hurt. You don't have fingers anymore. That is the energy body that has the feelings. Energy body has all emotions. Energy body has all your intelligence. And that is proof that, you have sort of phantom effect known in medicine. And what is more important is that energy body does not have sexual organs. It doesn't have inner organs either. It's like a light body vibrating. But it does not have sexual organs. They are, of course, in the physical. We need it for reproduction and sexual pleasure. But we are all, in a way, neutral or androgyne. And that explains, for instance, when some people say that, I feel like I'm a woman, but I'm in a male body or something. I want a sex change. So in a previous existence, they probably have been very, very many times in that female body, and then they jump into the male body and they have trouble. I mean, they have psychological trouble. They want back to the feelings of the previous existence. And of course also homosexuality can be explained, because 10% of people in hypnotic regressions, which I've done previously, I'm retired now, but they say that they have had a sex change. 10%. And 10% about, including the how would I say, the hidden homosexuals. It's about 10% of the population. So it's very important for people to understand that it's okay, you're whatever you are an energy. And that is what is most important. Not your physical appearance, not if you're black or white or yellow or brown or whatever. That's not important. It's the energy. And you see that in the eyes. You just focus on the eyes, you immediately connect, because the energy comes from your eyes, through you. So I think that's very important to find out. Isn't it?
Jest one question. Ma Pani dużą wiedzę na sprawy medyczne. Jakie znaczenie dzisiaj w tej kontroli mają chipy?
Okay, you got some knowledge about like medicine.
Jaką rolę też chipy dzisiaj grają?
What actually can tell about the implant microchips?
Implant microchips have been used actually, like I mentioned in my lecture, that the first electrodes were put into the brain 1874 already in Dayton, Ohio, in a hospital, Good Samaritan Hospital, to change the behavior. It's for behavior modification. Now, of course, the chips get smaller and smaller and smaller. 60s, 70s, they were about 1 centimeter, then the size of rice grain, and now they are nano size, which means they are 2 micromillimeter when your hair is 50 so you cannot see them anymore, you cannot remove them. They are there, they're put into injections like swine flu, influenza injections. Everybody who took that now has a chip. And when you have a chip, you can be totally controlled. Totally controlled. That means that at the headquarters of the police or the military, they have computers, supercomputers, and they can connect to your chip via satellites. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can be in Saudi Arabia or Qatar or whatever. They connect with you. It's like you have a brain signature, like we have fingertips that are unique. So we also have a brain signature. So you don't actually need a chip to be connected. So it's not that bad, but it is for the transformation of the human race. That's what the elite sort of excuse is why they're doing this. Not only for total control, because then they can change your attitudes. If you vote left, they change it that you start voting right. If you love somebody, they change it that you start hating somebody, the same person. So they take total control of your thoughts, of your dreams, of your subconscious. And even if the NSA lecturer, William Binney, said that he doesn't know about mind control, well, it's NSA that steers the whole thing in the world, but it was clear he is not allowed to talk. I'm allowed to talk because I don't work for anybody. So maybe I'm a little bit dangerous because they can only kill me. And every time they've tried to do something, like I said, the universe comes with an energy that helps. So I have a mission to do, like we all do. So the idea that human race is going to be transformed, and they call it transhumanism, by 2050. First it was 2045, but 2050, human race is not the same as we are today. We are not human beings, we are robots, steered from a center with data and satellites. And I think that is atrocious. I think it's finished with the human race. But on the other hand, when we think that we are so aggressive, we fight all the time. There's war. Americans must have a war according to 1960s report on Iron Mountain. America, it says, must have war all the time. It diminishes the population. It's the young people, the young soldiers that die, so population is diminished, and then the weapons industry, gets money. It's always control and money. But personally, I think we are not allowed, but we're doing it, playing God, whatever God is. Actually, I understand it's a universal energy of love. It's not a white man, sitting on a cloud like somebody may think. It's an energy. All the goodness in all of us forms that energy of love, which you can call God if you want to. So I think we have to learn to know what it is to be a human being on this planet. And every one of us has once or many times lived also on other planets in another form. And we want to have 5 fingers. We want to have, teeth and hair, whatever. Then we see somebody who is totally different, looks like an animal to us, but is thousands and thousands of more years more advanced technically and morally. So we go like this. We're like ants. We're like ants in the universe. We are in the kindergarten, and we say, oh, we are the biggest, and we are the finest. Maybe there's water on Mars or something. I mean, total disinformation about the space as we know it. And why? There are 4 reasons. There was a NATO report, 1964, which was so secret that they only made 15 copies in 3 languages for the whole world. I mean, that's not very many that read it. I met the man who has read it. He was working in SHAPE headquarters at that time, not NATO's headquarters, and he had read it. And he said there are 4 reasons why people are kept in the dark. Number 1, can you think? Theology. Theology. All the religions, every religion's dogma will crush. Number 2, human ego. Because, you know, we're the biggest in the universe. The others are bacteria. And we are the bacteria. And then number 3, well, our laws of physics, as we know them, you know, 300 years less with knowledge, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the laws of physics as we know them academically are 0 in space. And then the 4th was economy. It will crush and has a great effect on anything. Those 4 reasons. Whole world population is kept in the dark. And I think that's wrong. Why does the military, you know, it was US military, of course. Why NATO? Why do they, you know, it's only for control. Control, control, control. So we have to rebel. We have to have a French Revolution with you know, sort of that, hey, it's not the elite that decides, it's the people that decide. And we should be able to know and have the knowledge and the contacts. And there are so many people who have contacts, but they don't dare to talk about it because, you know, a psychiatrist goes, oh, I have a contact. Well, you know, I fly to the moon every night. Ha ha, come into the asylum. But they do because they go out of their body. And already in 1992, no, it was 1996, I was in the States, and they said that, that the US military was putting, at that time, $6 million into research of parapsychology and cosmic contacts and whatever. Now, that figure has to be up now. I don't know how much they put in the money into it, but I've been in the Virginia Center, Monroe Institute, where they were training the military and civilians. I didn't take their courses. They offered one, but I said no. 3 floors down, underneath, they had cells with a bed, and you were supposed to, we went to see them, sleep there, put on their earphones, and then came the Pacific waves. So, you know, relax, relax, relax. And then the leader, the military, it was John Alexander, colonel, who was leading them, the military courses, and says something, you know, now you get out of your body and then you get longitude and latitude, not saying go to Moscow, go to Peking, but longitude and latitude. You go there, you look around, and then come back, and then you report what you saw. And it was, you know, that's it. But they don't let you be out. NATO has, NASA has also a department for telepathy and a department for outer body. I know because they tried to recruit me, but I said I'm not for sale, and that's it. And that was 30 years ago, because I've had outer body experiences. So they do not let you be out if you're a white person more than 8 hours, because they say that your body starts deteriorating when the energy is out. So 8 hours you can go and fly wherever you want on this planet or another planet. Now it sounds totally fantastic. And of course people don't believe it because they don't know. Ignorance is the biggest illness of this planet. Total ignorance. We use only less than 10% of our brain capacity. I mean, usually 3 to 5, 8%. Why don't we use 90% more? I think the answer is very, very simple. Einstein or somebody who is, you know, a real hero in science could have used 30%. But we are trying to destroy this planet with wars, with this 10% brain capacity. If we had 100%, we wouldn't exist. I mean, this planet would have flown into pieces. So there's a reason for it, and there is the reason to change the human race. Change it. But they're doing it wrong in my mind, because they're mixing animals and humans. Click in Google chimeras. Those are the experiments. 2 laboratories in the United Kingdom have already created 150 chimeras, mix of humans and animals. And why do they do that? To use them for medical research. See? for research. The word research, you can do anything. And that's, in my mind, immoral. You have to have ethics when you do research. But today's world does not have moral and ethics. And that's it. So let's try to do something. Spread the word, and use your brain capacity to create a peaceful, good, fine planet for all of us without wars. And we can do it if we 7 billion start every day thinking, I want peace, I want peace, I want peace. And 7 billion, the guns would stop working. They couldn't. So there's a job to do for everybody. We have a mission, every one of us. Right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.